Right then, welcome back to the channel. As we said, we're going to do player ratings. Let's get into it. It wasn't a terrible performance, but you can't be excited after losing. You just can't, can you? You really, really can't do. Starting with Onana then in net, 6 out of 10. Interesting with his distribution. Didn't go long. 16 out of 17 passes, 94%. He saved the header nice and comfortable. Wasn't really tested outside of conceding Elanga's goal, and I don't know if he could have done too much about that. The defensive breakdown, getting caught on the transition was what really hurt us. Limited chance to impact the game positively as a goalkeeper because of the way the situation went. Forest only had 32% possession. They didn't really have a hell of a lot in terms of attacking pressure. 6 out of 10. Pretty standard. Wasn't really his fault. Wasn't really anything he did well. So 6 out of 10. In the back line then, Mazraoui. I love Mazraoui. I think he's a really intelligent footballer, and I'm giving him 7.5 out of 10, and he might have even been United's best player realistically. Exceptional defensively, 11 defensive actions, 6 tackles, executing last-ditch, last-man tackles, excellent awareness, excellent timing, heavily involved, contested 20 duels. Just a great performance and a real reliable, solid player. 89% pass completion, 63 out of 71%. He was good. He was just good. And he gives you a real solid platform to build up from in the back line. So it was solid from him. Matthijs de Ligt, reliable. 10 defensive actions, 6 clearances, commanding in the air, 7 aerial duels, which he won 4 of. Good, solid distribution. Not quite as progressive as Mazraoui or Yoro, actually, but 92% pass accuracy. Instrumental in initiating from deep positions. And we held the ball quite well, actually, and quite a lot in the back line because of the way Nottingham Forest set up and them scoring so early. They kind of just allowed us to have the ball back there a little bit. He had a decent chance to score, failed to convert. But one of those, so 7 out of 10 for Matthijs de Ligt. Again, another solid individual defensive performance, actually. And a 7 as well for Lenny Yoro on the other side. Strong, 6 clearances and a key last man tackle, which is probably the highlight of quite a critical defensive movement. Did real well to win the ball and not give away a foul. Another ref could have given that, I think. Maybe even maybe even give away, I think it was in the box, wasn't it? A penalty for that, but otherwise it was good, brave. He's obviously very good at those last-ditch tackles. Very good with his passing, 91%. Composed under pressure, sustained the build-up from the back, won the majority of his duels. He was solid, although probably not a standout in the aerial situations. I think they probably tried to target him just a little bit with that, but him, Mazraoui, de Ligt, all 3 of them asked to play right on the halfway line. Because of the way the game went, they was always going to be faced with running back to their goal multiple times yesterday, so can't really argue with that. Solid 7 out of 10 from him. Dalot, 6.5. He hit the crossbar. Pretty unlucky not to equalise. He was decent going forward. Didn't really have a hell of a lot to do going back, really. 88% pass accuracy. He did have 3 key passes, so he was creating for others. And he was trying to attempt crosses and stuff like that. It was fairly effective physically as well. He won 6 out of 11 duels. Didn't really have too much defensive output. Only 1 clearance, no tackles. Just sort of highlights the way the game went. But, didn't actually massively impact anything. If the goal goes in, a little bit of a different story. But it didn't, so it wasn't. Ugarte, subbed at half-time. Limited influence. 45-minute appearance. Modest defensive involvement. Just 2 clearances and 1 tackle, and pretty ordinary output passing wise, which might suggest why he was taken off. I haven't heard otherwise. If the gaffer's spoken on that, I haven't actually heard otherwise. He only won 2 out of 6 duels. Maybe that was why he got the curly finger at half time. Didn't really produce anything noteworthy in attack or defense. So 5 out of 10 performance from him. Might be one of the worst that we've given him, actually. Maybe an early one that he had wasn't quite as good. Alongside him, Casemiro, I'm going to go 5.5 for Casemiro. he was pretty committed. Got stuck in physically. 5 out of 9 of his duels he won, and struggled with his pass accuracy. But I think he was the one that was tasked with the more dangerous play. He always looks forward with it. He's always trying to play the ball forward. He is trying to switch play quite often, which is a risky pass against a team that's flooded the back line in the same way that Forest had done. But he was problematic on the transition. He just wasn't there, and Forest was absolutely rinsing us on those transitions, and he really struggled against those. He got a few shots off. He got 3 off, actually, with 1 on target. Didn't really trouble the keeper in any sense, but, one of those. He could have popped up with a goal, and it would have been a hero, but it wasn't the case, so 5.5 out of 10 for him. Dorgu. I'm going to go 7 out of 10 for Dorgu because I thought he was strong. He did create a big chance. He had 87% pass accuracy. He was a threat. He attempted 5 crosses, although none were accurate. Although that's a load of bollocks because he clearly can smash one into Maguire's face. So, statistically, it says he didn't complete any. I fucking saw him complete one. So that's not accurate, is it? He was very good aerially. He won 4 out of his 5 aerial duels. He provided physicality, strength, tactical width. He was good defensively with 3 clearances, a couple of blocks. I thought it was a really well-rounded performance from Dorgu. I think he's been a good signing, and once he gets a pre-season in with this team, I think he'll be a real live wire next season. I like him. He was got on the end of Bruno's cross as well earlier in the game. I think it was a pretty solid performance from Dorgu, so well done for him. And alongside him on a 7 is Bruno. Absolutely ran it for United. 111 touches. He orchestrated most attacks. He had 6 key passes, which is just an absolute madness, actually. A handful of accurate crosses. He managed to get a couple of decent shots off himself, 2 on target. Obviously didn't score. Highlights the inefficiency that United have got when, he's having chances, Casemiro's having chances, the forward line's having chances, although not Xerxes, and we're still not managing to convert anything. He did lose possession frequently, 31 times. Shows how risky he was playing some of those passes, but maybe it was necessary against such a deep-lying defence. You can't blame him. I thought he was solid in what he did. It was a decent performance from him. But yeah, wasn't to be. Garnacho. Where to even start with this? 4.5, 5. Heavily involved is the nicest thing I can say about him. And he's got an unbelievable knack of getting shots off. Unbelievable knack. He did attempt 5 dribbles. Only 2 were successful. His shooting accuracy is abysmal. He had 6 shots. Felt like more. But the decision-making on those shots was a joke. None on target. Booked for a foul. Had 7 crosses and didn't find the man. It's just an incredibly selfish performance, which is the norm, actually, when he plays on the left-hand side. When he plays on the right-hand side, he's a different player. But off that left-hand side, incredibly selfish, incredibly frustrating, and incredibly ineffective. And then Xerxes alongside him, he's getting a 5.5. Minimal impact up front. Comes away with 0 shots. Some of that's on him, some of that's on the team, particularly Garnacho. Didn't win any of his duels. He looks good when he comes back deeper. I think that's because he's finding space and he's overloading. When the team's not scoring goals, you've got to have your forwards delivering, or at least trying to deliver, and there was no deliverance from them. So, pretty ordinary involvement outside of that. 72% pass accuracy, didn't create for anybody else, didn't score, limited. And then, obviously we had Højlund come on. Again, little impact from him, minimal threat. Eriksen coming on. Yes, good passing accuracy. Injected a little bit of tempo when he played. Didn't manage to shift the game's momentum in any meaningful sense. Mason Mount played. He plays for us. Only managed 6 touches, had a decent attempt. was always wide though. And then Harry Maguire, which he came on in the 88th minute and might have been the most impactful substitute. He had a massive chance cleared off the line. Wasn't able to rescue a point for us. But like, how desperate you are when you throw in your £80 million centre half up front to try and get you a goal. There's just no goals in this team. Incredibly frustrating. So yeah, we dominated possession, almost 70% possession, but we struggled to penetrate a deep line defence. They were resilient and they defended the box fantastically. And United just don't have the personnel to either drive the ball into the box, deliver accurate crosses, or finish chances. And that's why we are languishing in the bottom half of the table. And it ain't going to change. Massive summer needed. Give us your thoughts on what I've said. Give us your ratings. I'll catch you in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.